On July 31st and August 1st, there is going to be the grand triple conjunction between Mars, Uranus, and the North Node. All the astrologers are talking about it. Well, a lot of them, most of them, a huge percentage of them. And I might as well talk about it. Now, I am not an astrologer, although I'm very interested in astrology, both predictive astrology, forecasting events, and also personal astrology about you and your natal chart and what makes you as an individual who is special, who has chosen to take part in life here and now and has a right to be, and what your own unique flavor in the ice cream shop would be. And so it's about time that I make a video, and this is that very video right now. So we've had one big moment at the beginning, sort of middle of, the first half of 2022. In the spring, April 12th, the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. It was so spiritual and so mystical, and it was a wonderful opportunity to connect to a higher power and so many wonderful things. And I hope that what I'm saying isn't exactly cliche. But now we're talking about two planets in the North Node of destiny. And so we have Uranus in the North Node, and Mars is joining Uranus. Now, does this sound familiar? I have another video about Mars and its significant aspects in the month of July 2022, and you can certainly check it out. And I talk about this conjunction a little bit, but I thought that I'd really put the spotlight on it, put the attention on it, because it's so significant. Why would I just bring it up in a part of a video? Why not make a whole entire video dedicated to it? So now let's get into it. Uranus was found during the French Revolution. It is the planet that is really taking us beyond what everybody knew, what a whole lot of people knew and exposed themselves to. You have your ego and your own individuality. You have your own emotional needs, sensitivity, and intuition. You have your mind, cognitive thinking processes, how you learn, Venus, your love, values, and it's also the planet of money as well. Mars, which is your goals and ambitions, actions, assertiveness, and drive. Assertiveness, that kind of thing. Jupiter, expansion, higher belief, fate, and global learning, global travel. And we have Saturn, which is hard work. It is the taskmaster that is demanding you to work hard for something that has value, and that the results of it surely, well, they come out on top and you get reward for it. But Saturn restricts. It presents luck and opportunity in the opposite way as Jupiter does. It's always saying, when you think that you're on top, there's always something more. And so then we move into the outer, more transpersonal realm of planets, and we get Uranus. And Uranus is all about, and all planets rule an individual zodiac sign. Uranus rules Aquarius. Aquarius is about freedom and sudden awakening, and so is Uranus. A time when all of society was following these traditions, these rulings, these blocks that have been sort of set out, but then all of a sudden there comes lightning that flashes down from the sky and destroys everything. Well, not everything. Could it be everything? Everything that is dated, everything that no longer serves people, everything that does not have a place anymore. Because if there was no Uranus, if there was no Aquarius, you would probably find hominid people sitting and hogging away at meats that they have probably killed, got their hands on, and then sat down and enjoyed in a really wonderful way. Just sitting and being lazy and indulging, only looking out for the self and not the group. And then one group, and then another group, and then, well, we have unity in diversity. And so it takes Uranus to move all of us into the future, to move all of us into a new landscape, a new paradigm, a new perspective. And so realizing that as we're all part of the collective, we're all individuals as well, and we deserve to shine, to be free, to be totally our own self, to add a very, very unique piece to the puzzle, in which you can put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and you have planet Earth. And so some people might be more timid, shy, introverted. Others might be more outgoing. Everyone has their own sense of fashion. Everyone has their own sense of art, their own sense of foods that they like, cuisine that they like, country that they want to travel to, music that they like. And it's all part of the rich tapestry and fiber and texture. And some texture may be smoother, other textures may be rougher, but it's so important that it all blends together in a melting pot, and especially America, which is going through the U.S. Pluto return right now, where all of the shadowy aspects of America, anything that's been sort of put under the rug, put out of place, put out of context, put out of sight and mind, can come to the surface once again and become important and worth paying attention to and worth transforming. Not to become, this is huge with Uranus, part of that herd mentality that, oh, I must blend with each and every member of the herd and exactly follow by the book. No, that's not Uranus. Saturn's all about structure and routine, and you must carry on the tradition of your ancestors. You must win this race and see this red flag in the evening and celebrate your victory as ongoing generations and posterity will continue to celebrate, will continue to acknowledge. Uranus is the change maker. There's a system that is becoming ingrained in society. It's going to become broken up. And with this conjunction, most definitely. And so Uranus is liberation. I want to liberate myself. And so there could be a lot of potential for global unrest of structures and systems that were in place that need to change. It's also the planet of justice and equality. We've had, Martin Luther King, we've had Muhammad Gandhi. I mean, those are just a couple examples of thought leaders and system breakers. And there's more to come, especially with this. So anyway, keep saying this conjunction, not really getting into it. And so certain, especially with the, war going on right now with Russia and Ukraine, that the Ukrainians have a right to call their country their own and stake their claim and have that kind of opportunity of where there has to be a sort of compromise that Russia can have its own country and Ukraine can have its own country and be sovereign nations. We'll see how that goes, necessarily speaking. But so anyway, Uranus is sudden. It's not just that slow incline of something going gradually and step by step. It's sudden. It's out of the blue. You wake up one morning and then you find an unexpected visitor. Somebody opens the door for you, or you open the door, better yet. And you find somebody that tells you you're going on an adventure. And I am making a reference to Lord of the Rings. And what happens from that adventure is that you were unprepared. You were looking on the map, and the map didn't exactly align with what you're supposed to occur, what you're supposed to experience in your own life. Or did it? Maybe you had an idea of a map, but then that idea didn't exactly align with what Spirit wanted you, what the cosmos wanted for you to become better and to evolve. And so something's got to give. You need to be the change maker. There's a common question of where you're not standing up for yourself, of where you're letting others sort of take the lead, of where you have this grandiose chance to become better, chance to become different and become wild and flashy and, well, for you to innovate. And it's a question of, are you willing to take that opportunity? Are you willing to get on your horse and ride into the sunset and go off in that life? Or stay at home in your very comfortable robe and slippers, in your comfortable chair with a bunch of food and indulgences and addictions, and not really get outside of yourself, not really get anywhere. And so Uranus being linked to serving humanity, serving different groups of people from all walks of life, serving people that are outside of yourself with different experiences and different dreams and aspirations and different visions for their life and different little contributions that they have to offer. And it's not being closed-minded. It's open-mindedness to all of that. But more so, there could be a lot of unexpected changes. There's so many unexpected changes. Yesterday evening, I was hearing about this sudden earthquake going on in this part of the world. And so the timing was really, really fascinating and really prominent and so, acute to what's going on that was sort of kind of the unexpected changes that could happen. And so there's so many with the stock markets, with, so many different things. And I'm sure maybe if you're looking into this, if you're reading stuff about it, if you're watching videos about this where an astrologer talks about it, and they probably spoke about all of these different things before. There could also be shifts in terms of what we all value. Of maybe we're living in this house. We might want to relocate to another house and another living style. Like I know I have family who sort of lives in Florida half the year, Wisconsin the other half of the year, who have moved, relocated, downsized, upsized more than once because of changes in values. Changes in values, in terms of wealth and abundance, and sort of, could be eating, could be our, food or diet. It could be, a job, a position, a sort of niche, a sort of kind of, like I've spent so many years in photography when I'm now realizing that I might want to go into painting now. Maybe it's something similar, or maybe I've been looking into being a novelist. Suddenly, you're just going along your path, everything's running smoothly, and then it just doesn't resonate anymore. It just doesn't feel right. It no longer has any place. It no longer holds any weight. It no longer gives you that just, excitement and enthusiasm and, all those things. And so at the same time as this conjunction occurring in the sign of Taurus can be material things. And I learned something the other day about Taurus relates to our basic survival needs of attending towards, you can imagine all the different zodiac signs as being Aries is just, survival of the fittest kind of thing at the extremes. And then Pisces being, how do I want to merge with the world? How do I want to, dream something new into being? All these different types of things. I'm not going to go through them, but, that can come to mind. And so, Taurus being related to our values, And it could be, material things such as, money, especially, food or, uh, living room, chairs, coffee table, television. Um, maybe that's not an absolute survival need, but Taurus is very simple, very basic, and once it works hard for something and finds something and gains and earns something, it won't let it go. It will stick to it. It will keep it in the little corner and say, no, this is mine. This is mine. Why give something up if it's not easy to attain? And that ownership and that real kind of, healthy self-respect, self-ownership of something, is wonderful. And the North Node isn't pointing towards giving that up and not being stubborn and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, like it probably would the Scorpio North Node. But it doesn't just have to be material things. It can also be, immaterial things as well. And it could be just the beautiful plants. It could be, getting up if, you live on an apartment or wherever and going down to the beach and feeling the waves at your feet or seeing, the beautiful starlit sky on an evening or night. Those kinds of things where it doesn't just have to be the, strong and sturdy, real, business stuff for real, heavy hitting and heavy earned type possessions. But it can be simple things in which are just part of nature, in which, you come and you go, but they will always be there as things that you don't necessarily own, as pieces of joy, pieces of life, parts of life, of parts of serenity that you don't necessarily own, but you can enjoy all the same. And so many different types of things. And so it doesn't have to be just the money hungry workers be doing all their stuff and and being very powerful and very ambitious. It can really, really be winding down. And I was seeing a post by the spiritual YouTuber Aaron Dowdy, and he was saying wanting is different or opposite to gratitude. Gratitude is, oh, I feel like I have enough. I feel like I'm totally satisfied. Everything is good. My life is hunky-dory. I am living it well. And all of my senses and my comforts are getting attention, and everything is working as it should, kind of thing. And so there's also that piece to it as well. The Great Depression, where there was that stock market crash, and then everything changed from boom to bust, where there were so many innovations going on with the, with, trying to think, the Roaring Twenties and things going on at that time, and then you have the stock market crash, and then everything became dirt poor, and that kind of thing went on where uh, people lost their jobs and had, a lot of homelessness, type of stuff. So many things happened at that time. Women were dressed in very, very poor outfits of, clothes, of not having the money or resources necessarily to make a whole lot of really, really nice clothing. I mean, it was decent, but it wasn't, high class or anything at an extreme. So clothes and, food, all these types of things, very tourist-related things. Those things may be really taken and sort of put in, like I think of washer and dryer, and it's just sort of getting in there and it's sort of, going, loop-de-loop type thing. And this could also be, where are you stuck in your life? Doing this kind of thing and, oh, this doesn't serve me, get unstuck. Self-sufficiency could be another thing of not, relying on others, not looking others for validation of, oh, just a simple example of I am spooning ice cream into a bowl and I'm asking somebody, is this enough? Do I have enough? Do I have little? Do I have too much? No. Determine that for your own self. And that could be one example of, like, sons and family who, live in their own house. And now it's kind of past the curb and it's time for them to develop their own house and, living situations of cooking for themselves and, tending to their own garden and, making their own money and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Developing inner stability as well as material resources as well of things that you can feel good about, objects that you can feel good about. And really owning your life. And welcoming in new ideas, new, things to come into your life and not just sticking to the, just the way that it's always been and sort of branching out and embracing what has not been to go beyond the limits. Like, like when you're traveling, it's not just your house and the comforts of your backyard. It's also, going beyond, going in a plane, seeing the clouds and scenery outside. And it's also, I'm going to a new culture. I'm going to India. And walking along and I'm smelling the wonderful spices. I'm going to Italy and I'm, enriching myself into new art and new cuisine. And, enjoying this pasta dish that I've never tasted before. All these types of things of where you can really, really take advantage of life, where there's so much that life can offer you. It's just a matter of opening up your mind and your heart as well, and not sort of, not building your wall to all those things. And so with Uranus, it's new technologies that could be there. Even this kind of a thing right here is a technology. Uprisings among people as well, since Uranus has to do that. Unexpected visitors. There's, call it Baron Reed, who's an oracle card creator, intuitive, thought leader, spiritual teacher, music artist as well, author. She has a card in one of her oracle decks called Unexpected Visitors. And, opening, the doors, such as Lord of the Rings, which I referenced earlier. But so Mars in with the mix as well adds the impulsive streak. It adds the impulsive streak because Mars is very, very impulsive. It can see something and just go on it, go towards it. And it is that warrior energy of seeing somebody in distress and coming to their rescue. It can be, leaving behind some of, a lot of the matters in life. And, certain matters of life. It can certainly be, traveling off to another culture and abandoning family and so many different types of things like that. But Mars conjuncting with Uranus can also have the, can also have that rebelliousness, the wildness of Mars being really daring and independent, and then Uranus, of course, shaking stuff up. And so there's different types of points of view. You versus the collective. What is your contribution to the world? What is your role? And how are you contribute? Offering a charity to people in need. Being part of the health organization. So many different types of careers, like firefighters and policemen who are very selfless and they can save others' lives and lift them out of very, very dark situations. And so your mark on the world becomes very, very important. And, so you versus the collective, could become CEO of a tech company, or just a wild example. Just a random example. So Mars conjuncting the North Node can really, really be initiating, stepping up to the, like a, could be the waiter stepping up to the table at a restaurant. How can I serve you? What can I do for you? But know you in your own life. You're taking action in your own life, not looking to somebody else to sort of start that fire for you, not looking to somebody else to, get you going, such as like with a parrot and a kid, with a bike and training wheels. No, take the training wheels off. It's time to take those training wheels off and then start riding down the road, biking down the road. You and you. Let's see what you can do. I want to say you on your own, you as one, you, the star in your own life. And so there's a thrust of momentum. There's a, there's a leap into action as well with this. Sort of, jolt out of bed where, we wake up some mornings and we feel like, oh, we need to get going. And we're Some of us avoid taking responsibility. It's just one issue. Rest of momentum, a leap into action, motivation. Mars is being very associated with motivation, personal willpower, confidence, and courage. Strengthening someone's capability or competence or ability, being very brave and bold as well, since Mars has to do with bravery. Mars being the planet of conflict, war. Well, I went way back. War, arousal, preparation to fight at any moment, kind of thing. But at the downside, it can be not thinking the situation through, just jumping into it. And that kind of thing depends upon where it's used, can tear away at certain relationships in life. There could be arrogance as well with this. Major accidents, refusal to compromise, and it could be just a high voltage energy where there's no off button as well, of just being just highly caffeinated as one example, and just going for it and not thinking of, oh well, if I do this, then I have to really pay for this. The quote, with great power comes great responsibility, as well, can be very, very daring and hardworking at best. And then with Mars Uranus, it can be very hardwired, letting go of limiting beliefs and patterns, and also rushing forward on a new quest of just, feeling kind of dull and feeling kind of, bored, and, now it's time to do something different. And you being the authentic you. And so I just want to say that the F-bomb for an Aries, well, it is the F word, as we all know, but there's also another 4-letter F word, and that is fake. Certainly not fake. Aries is not a fake sign, so don't be fake. And that is this conjunction. Thank you for watching.